Hey guys, here we go. We're going to be doing kind of a bonus film study. It's not like going to be like a super big film study, but it's going to be for the Guillermo Rigondeaux, Vasyl Lomachenko fight that's coming up this week. Anybody who's not excited about this probably just hasn't heard about the fight, and I don't know how you couldn't. Capping off what's been probably like the best year in boxing that we've had in like a decade. I don't remember ever having this many amazing fights. And they've had big fights before, but never with fighters that are as skilled and talented as we've had this year. Not even getting into like who all they are, but like the Kovalev Ward 2, Golovkin versus Canelo. Wow. Kell Brook, Errol Spence. That was a great fight. Crawford fought a couple of guys. Just Crawford. Just the level of skill in boxing today is just, it's higher than it's probably ever been in the last 20 years. These guys are just so much better than the people that have been in our previous generations. Not only because they have the skills, but also because training has gotten better. People are training better, smarter, they're faster, they hit harder because the science in becoming an athlete has become so much more prevalent than people just saying, oh, you're born an athlete, or all that bullshit. So now we've got real people who are also smart, that get to fight and become great fighters as well. And that's what we get to see this Saturday, is two of the smartest fighters. Now, this is going to be my prediction video as well as a bonus film study. And we're going to do, this is an older fight from Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Willie Casey, in which he knocks him out in the first round. But there are some interesting little tidbits in this fight, that may play a factor in the fight that coming up. So without further ado, we'll kind of get into it. It starts 10 seconds in because the video quality is so bad. But right away, you see that number one, look at how close they're fighting, right? They're already here. Willie Casey's basically already inside, right? So that's important to note that, and while Rigondeaux did a better job of controlling the space between him and Dickens, it is important to note also that sometimes he's not as good at, controlling that distance, right? And to be fair, this is what everyone's thinking, all the Rigondeaux fans are thinking is going to happen, and it very well might happen, is if he is coming in and Rigondeaux isn't controlling the distance or isn't able to, he's going to be able to land punches to end the fight in the first round. So, and that's a very real possibility, to anyone who thinks that Rigondeaux can't win, or, that's that's rubbish, this is a very difficult fight to tell who's going to win. But we'll talk more about that at the end. Let's do the film study now. So right away, you see, getting back to the beginning of this particular engagement, you see Willie Casey feint the jab and then start coming with a right hook, or with a left hook, kind of like a wide, not a straight left, right, but it's like a left hook, trying to catch Rigondeaux as he punches with him, trying to bait him into a counter, right? Very similar to how Lomachenko is going to fight him, right? Baiting him into counters. But unfortunately for Willie Casey, he doesn't know how Rigondeaux is going to react to this. So Rigondeaux sticks his right glove out there to control him, make him think that's the punch that's coming, and then Rigondeaux winds up with this huge body shot right here. Now, this is really interesting because Lomachenko is pretty vulnerable to the body. Not saying like it's easy to hurt him, right? We've never seen him hurt. We don't know what it takes, right? But presumably, and I haven't rewatched the fight like I said I would, the steroid cheat, Salido went to the body, right? We can assume that he went to the body quite well, and maybe he was able to slow Lomachenko down enough to, fake coming out ahead on points, right? Aside from all the low blows. I guess if he landed a lot of low blows, he probably landed a lot of body shots too. But it's just to say that he is open to the body. Not necessarily that Salido won the fight or landed clean shots. And maybe that's why they were low as well, is because Lomachenko wasn't actually open to the body because he was blocking those shots. So they wound up straying low. But that's not really the point. The point is and I'll show it in the next series of like little clips in here, is that Lomachenko is a little bit vulnerable to the body. And we can see here that when Rigondeaux is countering, he's going to the body instead of going to the head. And we do know that Lomachenko has fantastic head movement. Some controlling the distance right there. Not a good job, right? Like we talked about it in the Shabransky fight with Kovalev, how Shabransky was trying to control the distance. Whoops, I'm running out of storage space, guys. Shabransky was trying to... Come on, get the fuck out of here. Shabransky was trying to control the distance with his jab, right? But not control it like with a probing jab or a feinting jab, but only with a jab, and that's what got him knocked out by Kovalev, right? So, and we will see Rigondeaux use a little bit different of a jab. We're just talking about this particular fight, right? He comes in, he gives him a feint. Willie Casey gives him a feint, slip inside, and then slip inside and throw a left hand as well. Rigondeaux controls it, kind of. You know, I think he's shooting a jab, right? Control the space, right? And this is very early on in his career, too, so you can't judge too much because he showed a lot of improvement in the Dickens fight. And then goes for a straight left hand that doesn't land either. And then controls him on the way out. Now, this is interesting, right? Is this... Boom, he's coming with that uppercut, right? Expecting Willie Casey to come in again, and he's trying to go to the body. Now, the reason that this is so interesting, you guys, is because the kidney, or I mean, not your kidney, your liver is on the right side of your body, which is perfectly in line with the left hand to the body, right? The left hook from a conventional fighter, but it's still right in line there for the southpaw versus southpaw straight left hand, right? If you go with a left hand to the body. That's also probably why you don't see too many right hands to the body. There's no organ there. You know, you might hit him. It's going to be a decent shot, right? But it's not going to be like, you're probably never going to knock someone out with it, right? Whereas I think Vic Darchinyan used to just slam his left hand into people's body all the time from a southpaw position and knock people out. I remember one highlight knockout, and I remember after seeing that, like when I didn't know shit about boxing, like nothing, I would go in there to the gym and I would try to emulate that. And I would just go in there, stand southpaw, and just whack, you know, give him a right hand feint, right? Oh, fake jab. My jab was so bad as a left-handed fighter early on. Like it was so horrible, like a wet noodle, man. And I would just go in there and try to slam my left hand into people's bodies. And it works, you know, like people just don't know how to defend against it. And it's very... especially like if they're orthodox, right? Obviously, like being southpaw versus southpaw to be a little different, right? But still, it might not be something that Lomachenko is as used to dealing with, especially if he's expecting Rigondeaux to be going to the head, right? Which he's very famous for head hunting. But in this fight, it looks like he's going a little bit to the body. Now, this is interesting too. We didn't see a lot of it from Willie Casey. Or from Rigondeaux in the Dickens fight is the right hook. And we'll talk more about that later after we kind of break down the knockout. So some good controlling the distance, right? Not a real jab right here. He's just kind of probing it out there and then moving back and realizing that Willie Casey is kind of trying to counterpunch the counterpuncher, right? Which is interesting because that's exactly what Lomachenko is going to be doing, right? There we go, another shot to the body. Boom. Feints him upstairs first, right? Boom. Gets him to bring his gloves up, and then goes to the body right after giving him the feint. But Lomachenko is very good at... I saw a video on it one time from a fallen member of our community about aggressive counterpunching, right? And what he was referring to is probing, right? Probing and baiting punches from your opponent. Because a lot of really high-level fighters understand that you're out of position when you're punching, right? And they want to wait for you to punch so that they can punch you because now you're not in a position to defend yourself. The next level to that is pretending to punch, so making your opponent think you're out of position, and then getting them to punch with you. And so you can counter them, right? Aggressive counter punching. Nothing really landing there. And again, right, you got to be better at setting your punches up than this, right? Oh, God damn it, the video skipped. So he shoots that, boom, boom, right, and misses the shot. Another body shot right there. And then this is really interesting, right? So feints him and then goes to the body. Another right hook, right? Very interesting, because we didn't see that in the Dickens fight at all. That's something that we'll be looking for, that I'll be looking for in the Lomachenko-Rigondeaux fight, is the right hook. And we'll be talking about that a little later too. Again, he's just kind of teeing off on this guy. This guy is not super great. He's out of position a lot. It's really easy to bait him into throwing punches. Boom. Feints him, gets him. And this is interesting too, right? So just watching this, a guy like Willie Casey is able to feint him, get him out of position, and land a left hand to the head, right? He's able to correctly figure out what Rigondeaux's doing, right? Because Rigondeaux doesn't have like a super diverse set of offensive skills, right? Offensive skills. Great defense, right? Great defense, but the ways that he looks to attack are very simple, right? And this is the exact same way that he was doing against Willie Casey, right? Sticking his probing hand out there, and then throwing a body shot. In this case, it's more of a feint, right? In the Willie Casey one was a probe, as he was trying to get Willie Casey to bring his lead hand away from his face. But it's the same style of defense, just not as refined. And anyway, Rigondeaux goes to the body right here and is really able to hurt Willie Casey. Again, you can hit them right in the liver, because that's exactly where it is, on the right side of their body. And now he's just teeing off, right? Not like obviously he's got good technique, but it's not what you call technical, right? Technique and technical are not the same thing. But anyway, to be honest, that's all I wanted to really show about this fight, is the fact that Rigondeaux goes to the body a lot. And I think that that's going to be really important for him for scoring, right? Not necessarily for winning the fight, right? But you want to look at, when you're judging a fight and you're trying to figure out who's going to win, you want to look at how your offense lines up against your opponent's defense, right? So a much lesser fighter can overcome a much more talented fighter if his style of offense lines up well with their style of defense, right? And now, not to like nitpick or anything, but Andre Ward, use Andre Ward as an example, right? Who in boxing has a defense for holding and hitting and wrestling? Nobody. That's why Andre Ward is so successful, is because nobody has a defense for it. And because Andre Ward he's allowed to do it, he's very successful in the sport of boxing. Not because necessarily he's a great boxer, which he very well could be, right? He does do a lot of smart things. He's very smart. Like in the ring, Andre Ward is very, very, very smart. The adjustments that he made in the first fight, right? Even though I didn't have him winning, but the adjustments that he made in the fight, and the way that he was able to learn on the job, were very impressive. But as you can see, like even a better fighter than Andre Ward, a better actual boxer, can't really compete with him because his offense lines up so well against them. I hope that's a good. I hope you guys understand that analogy. But anyway, now this is the next video I wanted to talk about. The Gary Russell versus Lomachenko film study. Gary Russell has a lot of success with his right hook, as you can see right here. Not necessarily right there, but right there is the right hook. And that's something that Rigondeaux may be able to really call back from his earlier fights. As you notice in the Dickens fight, he didn't really throw his right hook at all. You know, everyone knows him for his straight left, right? But as you can see, Lomachenko is open for the right hook, boom, and body shots. Look at how he dips and he moves away from the headshot. He'd be able to roll that right hook if it was a right hook to the head, but it lands flush on his body. A great body shot from Gary Russell. And then again, another right hook right here that lands on Lomachenko. He does do the same motion where he's trying to roll away from it, but it kind of grazes him, and I think it whacks him pretty decent. As you can see, he moves off the line like an intelligent fighter after getting hit. but the right hook was a great weapon for him. And right here, boom, catching Lomachenko on the inside and able to, not rock him, right, but knock him off balance and catching him with a great shot. Again, some further stuff for Lomachenko in order to be able to, or for Rigondeaux to find ways to land his offense, right? And so far, going to the body and using the right hook seem like pretty decent avenues of success for him, and that's going to be very important for him because Lomachenko, for the most part, is so inactive with his offense, right? He doesn't throw a lot of punches. He's very, people call it technical, but it's not technical, you guys. If you were a great technical fighter, when your opponent's not punching at you, you're able to get them out of position, right? So it's not technical, and it's not patient, right? And I don't want to say lazy either, but it's a lack of know-how, right? And we know that Lomachenko does not have a similar problem, right? So it's going to be very important for Lomachenko or for Rigondeaux to find his opportunities to land punches when he can, so he doesn't fall too far behind in the rounds. And I would say that my suggestion would be to be using the right hook, even if you're not hurting Lomachenko with the right hook. Landing good punches is going to keep you in the minds of the judges during the scoring phase, right? Because to be honest, does anybody really expect Rigondeaux to be able to win a points race against Rigondeaux or against Lomachenko? Does anybody expect that, right? That's kind of like even if you looked at it at the most rudimentary level, it's kind of like Pacquiao versus Marquez, right? Pacquiao coming forward, Marquez doing a great job, giving him a boxing lesson, right? Even if that's what could happen, right? Everyone seems to think that, a lot of people seem to think that Rigondeaux is going to give Lomachenko a boxing lesson. But the one coming forward, the one throwing all the punches, he's usually the one that wins the rounds, right? So Rigondeaux, just because of his style and his fighting narrative, is already in a hole behind because of the fact that Lomachenko is so active. So this is going to be a really important factor for him to stay relevant in the judges' minds during the scoring phase, if the fight is to go to a decision. Now, as far as the counterpunching and whatever from Rigondeaux, I don't think that that's going to be very effective for him. I think that I also don't think that he's going to be able to control the distance. I think that Lomachenko is going to be too good with the feints, too good with the probes, and he's going to be able to make Rigondeaux make simple mistakes. As you saw in the Willie Casey fight, Willie Casey had to give one little feint or one little probe to get Rigondeaux to start countering, right? And Willie Casey was and James Dickens was the same way. He was able to force Rigondeaux out of position with simple feints or simple probes or even just throwing punches, and get him out of position and make him counter. Now, right here, you see. Not right here. Right here, you see Gary Russell trying to control the distance with his jab. He'd been using it all around, and Lomachenko was able to counter over the top of it. Gary Russell Jr. does a good job of moving off the line when he punches, he does it better than Rigondeaux, so Rigondeaux may have to be worried about that. But he almost gets caught with that shot, and Gary Russell realizes it and stops trying to control the distance now, and because of the fact that he stops him from being able to control the distance by countering over the jab, even if he didn't land it, he's able to smother him right here, get him out of position, and land a body shot, right? Simply by using his feints and his probes and his own, as we called it earlier, aggressive counterpunching, right? Which it's really not. And again, feinting here, feints him with the jab, gets Gary Russell to counter with the jab, and Gary Russell even controls his head after missing it and still winds up getting whacked by a right hook. Again, he's very good with the feints and very good with the probing and baiting you to counter him so that he can land his shots. On top of that, he's also very good at using the feints and the probes to pick up on what you're doing so he can create the appropriate counters. And again, controlling the distance against Lomachenko. This is something that people think that Rigondeaux is going to be able to do very well, that Lomachenko is not going to be able to get on the inside at all, right? Boom. And off of the jab that Gary Russell's looking to shoot, right, the double jab, Lomachenko is able to slip it, and this is really important. He's able to slip it and move his foot forward just enough so that he can close the distance while punching to land some of his offense. Now, one of the reasons why that's so important is because we also know that Lomachenko is better on the inside than he is on the outside. He does look to fight on the inside, to close the distance and to create positional advantages so that he can kind of he can get on the inside and mitigate your ability to defend yourselves by having a positional advantage. So I kind of think that that's exactly how the fight's going to play out, is that the feints and the probes are really going to set Rigondeaux behind early in the fight until he figures out a way to deal with them, but it might already be too late. I think that the feinting and the probing is going to be what wins Lomachenko the fight. We do know that Rigondeaux doesn't like to come forward, and the only person to ever beat Lomachenko, controversially or not, was someone who came forward. Anyway, my pick for the fight is Lomachenko by ass beating in a very fun and competitive fight. And I'll probably do one more video the day of the weigh-in when you get to see them face to face. And yeah, but if Rigondeaux has a chance to win, it is by knockout, and I do give him that opportunity for sure. He has great power, but going to the body and slowing Lomachenko down, but going to the body and also using the right hook. I think the right hook is going to be more of a weapon for him than the left hand. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thanks, guys.